Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
This is my boomstick.
Here's Johnny.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Righteous! Righteous! Yeah!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Houston, we have a problem.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
All right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Those Film Nerds podcast. And as always, my name is Will Spalding. I'll be the host, but joined by my other host and trusted friend is Sam Dierberger. Sam, how's it going?
How's it going? I'm doing well. How are you, Will?
Good. Well, hopefully, we've recorded this now twice in separate days, so hopefully our technical difficulties do not arise in today's recording session. And we should say this is the kind of stuff that the listenees don't see. You know?
Exactly. The listenees. That's not even including our dry run that we do every Saturday. It's like a prep for the show. That's right.
And actually, we do a 4-hour podcast, but our editing team really splices us down.
Yeah, the Tenet podcast was about 20 hours, right around there, and they just had to. That's what they're paid to do. I don't have any sympathy, so. This week we will be talking about Enola Holmes.
Boom. Enola Holmes. This is we could probably count on three hands how many Netflix movies we've done now, Sam.
Yeah. 2 hands and a foot. Look, I'm grateful. I am grateful for the new releases via streaming. They're convenient. They give me a taste of what life used to be like watching new releases. I'm grateful for them.
Yep.
But I am, on the other hand, I am tired of these mediocre movies, as we'll get into it.
And yeah, you're right, as we'll get into. But I think that's the whole thing is, yes, we would love to go to the theaters, but I just want to start seeing some of the movies I've been anticipating for so long. These movies we've been doing, they're fine for what we're doing, but I think we want to get into the actual movies we're looking forward to, like we were for Tenet or The French Dispatch, or name any movie. But we'll continue to do these until theaters open up. But before we talk about Enola Holmes, let's get into some industry news, and I'll let you start.
Sure.
With your bit. So go ahead.
If you look, if you recall, ladies and gentlemen, where we last left our story, there was a movie called No Time to Die, which is a James Bond movie. It was probably shot and produced, in 2019, which feels like years ago. And it was ready for release in April of 2020, which feels like several years ago at this point.
Oh boy.
It's now October 2020. But of course, due to the pandemic, it pushed to November. So we were expecting a brand new James Bond movie next month. But alas, the movie has been postponed again, presumably because of the failed Tenet experiment, and it's been pushed to April 2nd, 2021, which is a pretty big blow to theaters, particularly in the UK, where James Bond is kind of their Marvel universe, I suppose.
Yeah, that's their calling card almost. Yeah, you're right. And I know you kind of mentioned it the last time we recorded this, but this might be a threat to that sounds funny, but this might be a threat to some theaters closing down.
Yes.
You know, and definitely be concerned about smaller theaters that might be like just a family business type thing. But even large corporate like AMC has been having issues that might close down. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what this means for if movies keep delaying. I mean, theaters still have to pay those fixed costs. So we're not gonna. If no movies are coming out, it's gonna be impossible to make money. So we'll have to see.
Look at you with your microeconomics
I know.
terms.
I'm going way back for that right there. But no, this will be interesting to see over these next couple months. I know we're all itching to get back, but it definitely it might be for a while, might not be for a while, and then on top of that, maybe some theaters will close down permanently. So,
Right.
which is a shame.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's like all things. The pandemic has kind of accelerated trends that were heading in that direction anyway, but it's accelerated them.
Absolutely.
So
For sure. I mean,
we all knew that theaters were dying, but they're dying at a much faster pace now.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall that streaming and like video on demand was definitely going to take over a home theater type thing. But yeah, I think you're right. This has definitely accelerated that process as people are becoming aware that they don't need to go to theaters to watch their movies. And,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, but enough about James Bond and theaters. I got a couple things that. Couple other industry and I'll start with the least. I'll say least. But Jamie Foxx has been cast in the new Spider-Man sequel with Tom Holland, and he's reprising his role as a
That's right. Absolutely.
but you know, it's good to see good actors being hopefully some decent movies. I mean, as much as you might hate on them for what they symbolize, are often at least regarded well critically and of the first Spider-Man movie from a while ago. But yeah, we'll see where this leads. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, Jamie Foxx is very good when he's trying. We talked about him about a month and a half ago now with Project Power, and how that was just kind of a phoned in performance. But all in all, it should be interesting. Not that I care too much about the Marvel universe, not that I care too much about Spider-Man, and I just think that it'll be interesting. I mean, I'll go see it just because he's he's a good actor. It's a good performance. Probably worth a watch.
Sure. Yeah. I'm with you there. But let's move on from that. Kind of tackle a different horse here, but maybe the same head is the new Lion King movie coming out, Sam.
Yes.
Of course,
yes.
a sequel to 2019's The Lion King live action animated reboot, whatever that was. So actually, wait. Let's just disregard the director because that's a whole other conversation.
Okay.
What is Disney just really just in it for the checks at this point? Because I could see maybe a little bit of artistic decisions in that first one with like how they were going to approach the whole live action type thing. But at this point, what are we even doing here?
That's a question for Bob Iger. I think that will this be a cash grab? Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's gonna make $2 billion. Easy.
It will. It just will. But I'm a little more optimistic about it just because it's a sequel and probably not going to be a shot-for-shot remake with better CGI.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll actually take some artistic ability to pull off, which I'm optimistic for. Does that mean it's not a cash grab? Oh, it's absolutely a cash grab. But which comes first in terms of, are they looking to craft an artistic story and then as a result of that, make a ton of money at the box office? I don't know. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see.
And I know that there are 2 sequels to The Lion King 1994. Yep. I would like to see them not use those. I would say don't go to that source material, create a different story. I think that would be interesting. I think I could be into that because then it is really a new, well, it's not new because you have prior characters, but a new idea of, or how should I say that? I guess a new idea in a sense. But even more interesting is the fact that Barry Jenkins will be directing this, of course, from Moonlight fame, which won Best Picture, and If Beale Street Could Talk in 2018. But it's interesting because this will be his 4th, actually. He made a small, 88-minute movie, and then Moonlight, and then If Beale Street Could Talk. Mm-hmm. And this is wildly different than Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk. So
right.
Why is he doing this? Is he doing it to try and show range or give himself a new challenge or work within a studio system for once? What do you think he's trying to do here?
Yeah,
this just seems out of character.
Yeah, it does. It's one of the 2 things. Actually, it could be 3 things. Okay. Number 1 is the most cynical view, which is he wants money. Number 2 is he wants to expand his abilities as an artist, and he wants to take on a franchise movie, huge budget, and try to work with computer generated imagery, which would be a likely step as a director. And then there's the third one, which kind of has to do more with the creative process, probably more with the writing, which is based on what Jenkins has done previously. Does he want to make a Lion King sequel that is allegorical for current hierarchies or race relations within the United States? Possibly. And the only reason I say that is because his previous 2 films have been distinctively about race in America. So it's, it's possible that he's looking to inject that in there as well.
Yeah, and interesting thoughts there. I guess he's really the only reason I'm excited for this, because I do like Barry Jenkins. I love Moonlight, and I like If Beale Street Could Talk. So this will be interesting, if nothing else. Maybe, like you said, maybe it won't be great. Maybe it will be pretty good. We'll have to see ultimately. If I were to guess, this comes out 2023.
Yeah.
2022 at the earliest. We're a while out here. I mean, it just got announced, so shouldn't be expecting anything super soon. But I would guess there's at least an idea of what they want to do with it, or at least I hope they have an idea before just announcing a movie. So,
well, yeah, I would assume that Jenkins has something in mind when he was pitching himself.
Okay, yeah,
where he wants to take it. That's my guess, but who knows? Maybe Disney called him.
They might have.
That's another possibility.
They might have, which would even be more interesting as to why they would want this kind of director. I feel like if Disney were to approach him, or Disney would approach someone, they'd want someone that they've worked with before and had success with. So that even makes me more interested with what Barry Jenkins might have in mind for this.
Right. Yeah.
But I think the most interesting news to us, at least, and this is new territory. We did not record this last time.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you heard about this, so I might be breaking news to you as well. As
you might be. You might as well be.
A new movie was announced starring Oscar Isaac and Jake Gyllenhaal. About the making of the Godfather movie.
Oh.
So Sam, now you are now getting the making of the Godfather movie and the making of Chinatown.
Yeah, what is it with this strange phenomenon? We have Mank, we have the Disaster Artist.
So what I'm seeing right here is Chinatown was 1973.
Yes.
Godfather was 1972. So what 1971 movie are we now going to cross into?
The French Connection.
All right, we're gonna be.
I think that's 71. No, The Conversation, maybe. No, that was later.
The French Connection 71. I think it is. We're getting that one too. But so Oscar Isaac is playing Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay. And
Jake Gyllenhaal is playing a producer of the movie, Bob Evans. And it'll be directed by Barry Levinson. Levinson. I don't know how to pronounce that. Who did Rain Man?
Oh, sure.
So this is promising. I mean, this will be similar. This will be a similar style to Mank. We're gonna see some Oscars out of this. It's going to be a good movie. I'm excited for this. Do you have any initial thoughts?
Who are you casting as Pacino?
Oh, and Brando.
Oh, that's gonna be difficult. You gotta be.
Yeah. So to play Brando, because I mean, yeah, he was in makeup the whole time because he was about 50 when he made that. So
Yes.
Yeah, he was about 50.
Yep.
And then Pacino as well. I don't know. Who are you thinking?
Brando is so hard. And coincidentally, I read the other day that when Brando won Best Actor for his performance in The Godfather, he didn't go to the ceremony, and he did not accept the award because of the Academy's treatment of the Native American population, or underrepresentation of Native Americans in film. So he had like a Native American girl go up there for him. But then I knew that already, but then I read that Pacino boycotted the awards because they only gave him a Best Supporting Actor nom, and
he felt he should have been.
felt-
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They were. I think they were both leads in my mind, but
No, I agree. I think they are both leads. So you might not. I should say Marlon Brando and like the character Marlon Brando in this movie and Al Pacino might not be super huge roles. Who knows if this will be like before or during the making.
right.
That'll be so hard, and I'm not good at who should I cast. I guess like who kind of looks like Marlon Brando and is a great actor. I don't know. DiCaprio. Like it's not like I won't provide anything to this thought. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I want to ask you, is there any movie that you would like to see a making of movie? Cats 2019? Me too.
I mean, what about Apocalypse Now? Have you ever read about the production of Apocalypse Now?
I don't want to.
It was a mess. Martin Sheen was like 36 when they were filming it, and he had a heart attack on set. Brando showed up to set like 50 pounds overweight. Like it was just a disaster. Like people died in a helicopter crash, like an actual helicopter crash. It went way over budget. It's just that would be fascinating.
That would be interesting. I like that. What would I want to see? I think yeah, you got to do something like that where it's just a disaster to make, like, or at least interesting. So the Disaster Artist would be a great example for horrible to make, but like, yes. I think Chinatown would be one that would just be interesting to see. So probably some like, I don't know, maybe it sounds dumb, but like The Wizard of Oz. I know they kind of did that with the Judy last year, but it wasn't really that. Like that would be interesting to see how they did all that. And
yeah.
But yeah. Any other thoughts toward this Godfather movie? How do you think Gyllenhaal and Isaac will do?
I think they're both phenomenal actors, and I think they'll both do quite well. I mean, I think Oscar Isaac is pretty obvious casting actually as young Coppola. That makes sense to me.
They look relatively similar. Have that same complexion.
Yeah. And Oscar Isaac can pull off just about any ethnicity.
Oh yeah. It's like him and Vin Diesel, where every race can claim them. Just like, yeah, he's black. Yeah,
like literally, I don't know what he is.
He's Asian. He's white. I don't know. We can all claim
deeply Italian. He's Sicilian. Yeah. Like what?
We can all claim Oscar Isaac, which is good because who doesn't want to claim Oscar Isaac?
I know he's such a talented individual.
Absolutely. But moving on from industry news, let's talk our movie of the week, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
I have to stay hidden from my brothers. I must become something unexpected. A lady.
There we go. Transitioning here from industry news to the movie of the week, Enola Holmes. I guess where do we start? I guess let's start with the whole. Is this like I don't want to say faithful, but like, does this live up to other Sherlock Holmes adaptations or Sherlock Holmes-esque, I should say? In your opinion, what do you think? Is this worth the Holmes name?
Well, I mean, the greatest Sherlock Holmes adaptation is, of course, 2018's Holmes and Watson.
Yes. And does this live up to that? No. But can we expect
No,
it?
no, because Holmes and Watson is the exception.
Yeah.
That is a perfect film. So we're going to take that out. But I mean, the other adaptations, like a Robert Downey Jr. or something of that nature, it's like Batman, you know, there's different tones.
Absolutely.
Of Batman. There's different universes or whatever. And I guess this is just a more light, playful universe. Although this movie is a little darker than you would expect it to be, which I enjoyed.
Sure, it totally surprised me, right? Because I figured it would be very, how should I say? It was much more fun than I would have thought.
Yeah,
and less dark, which I wasn't. I don't know if I was really expecting it to be super dark, but and it still managed.
Really? Oh, you thought it was gonna be more dark than it was.
Well, I would say that, you know, I figured that with the Holmes movie, it would take it not that this didn't take itself seriously, but that it would be more, not even a little bit more, I don't know, like almost gritty, like something would happen, but it stayed away from that. But it's not that it didn't do it some of that well though. When it did transition to more serious tones at some points.
Oh, okay. Because based on the trailer, I thought it was like a David Copperfield, like the personal history of David Copperfield. I mean, I thought it would just be kind of light, fun, flamboyant. The mystery would be like, well, they did employ this a little, but I thought the mystery would be like all riddles, and it's like a clue kind of thing. But it was a little more malicious than that. Like there's a whole subplot of like domestic terrorism going on the streets of London.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is kind of bold, you know? So yeah, it surprised me a little bit.
Well, and I suppose that's good in a movie like this, because it does feel like you'd be able to sit down and write the script right now, even prior to watching the movie. You know, you could, or maybe not the whole script, but you could at least kind of say what it's going to do, and then if it does defy your expectations even a little bit, that's a good sign, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So let's kind of transition. How did Millie Bobby? I need to look up her name before I just completely get it wrong.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Is that it? Okay.
I think so.
It is Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things fame.
She is from Stranger Things. Now, Will and I don't watch TV shows, but my brother hyped up Stranger Things for weeks, and I watched the entire first season with him. He liked it so much he watched it again, and I was like, "This is just not good."
Oh,
I'm like, this is just bad storytelling.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I had this expectation that like Stranger Things was like a sci-fi kind of show.
Oh,
it's not sci-fi. It's more like supernatural.
Oh, interesting.
Like I thought it was something in the vein of like In the Vast of Night, like we reviewed back in July or whatever. It's not like that at all. It's like supernatural. Bizarre. But anyway, also, okay, another side note. I have a lot of things to say. Millie Bobby Brown is a dead ringer for young Natalie Portman.
Oh, sure.
A dead ringer.
Absolutely. I was surprised to learn that she is 16 years old.
I know. It's absurd.
It was actually kind of funny, and because when she said that she turned 16 a week ago, I was like, come on, movie. You expect me to believe that this woman right here is 16 years old? She looks like she's 19.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to learn that she is actually 16. So that was kind of cool, actually. But I thought she played this quite well. And
yes. Yeah.
I thought she
did a great job.
I thought she was fun and energetic, which is everything I was looking for with her character. Almost kind of a little not know, like fish out of water, not really knowing what to do, but then was super fun inside of that role.
Yes. Yeah, and she was probably like 15 when they filmed it.
Yeah, which is crazy. So good for her. But I want to hear what all did you like? What all did you like about this movie, or just some general thoughts?
I liked the tone. I actually liked she would continually talk to the audience and go through her plans. Just because the monologues that she went on were really witty. Her character was really likable, very clever, instantly relatable. She kind of had her own plan throughout, and it's fun to watch a character that's extremely independent. Just generally, it's just fun. And also I thought the mystery worked out pretty well, or about as well as it could have given the premise. I think the entire thing with her mom and how Helena Bonham Carter only really showed up in flashbacks is really well done.
I did like that. Yeah.
I thought that was really clever, kind of defied my expectations. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say,
what did you find? Yeah.
I thought that we were given the task that she was going to go find her mother, and I thought that was all it was going to be. But I liked that they kind of switched it up a couple times. With her trying to save the boy. That was an interesting turn that I did not expect. So that was cool. I liked it looked good. Used a lot of colors, so it was visually appealing. And like you said, I thought it was clever, and I thought the script was pretty funny. And I thought, as soon as they, like one of the first lines is just her talking directly to the camera, and I thought that was going to get very old very quickly, and it didn't. So I guess if you can talk straight to me and have me not like roll my eyes, I guess that's pretty good. So good on that. I guess I would have, for a while, there was like an hour there where they didn't do it at all. And I was wondering, like, where did this go? It didn't seem 100% consistent, but at least I wasn't annoyed by it, I suppose. So
yeah, I would agree. The other interesting thing that I forgot to mention was the newspaper clippings that kind of show up throughout, where it's like the animated newspaper stuff. I thought stylistically that was really cool. I think it benefited the story's tone very well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do want to get your opinion on how did you like the use of Sherlock, the use of Henry Cavill? He was there but didn't really do a whole ton. Did you want more Sherlock, or did you want less Sherlock?
I always want more Sherlock.
Sure.
I have a fever, and the only prescription is more Sherlock. So I mentioned last week I'm a pretty big Sherlock Holmes fan, and I think that the portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, in particularly today, is not very accurate. Like in the books, if we're talking about fidelity to the books, which in this case I care about because Sherlock is a very interesting character, but Sherlock is supposed to be an extremely dramatic, somewhat socially inept, moderate cocaine user. like he's supposed to be outside the box, and in this portrayal he's extremely
mellow and calm.
He's very mellow and calm, which I can't fault the writers for, just because that is now our popular conception of what Sherlock is like. But yeah, so I mean, I could have done with more Sherlock.
Yes,
but
I
that's just me.
I will say I was glad they didn't rely on him, but I wanted
Yes.
a little more, because I was afraid that this would be like, yes, it's called Enola Holmes, and yes, it would be an Enola Holmes movie, the sister to Sherlock, but I was afraid that like half of the movie would be focused on Sherlock, which it wasn't. I would have just liked a little bit more. Also, the whole time I was thinking, are we going to get one scene where Henry Cavill just beats people up? Because I want that. Because Henry
Yes,
Cavill's an
exactly.
intimidating guy. He's a big man. And I wanted him to just punch some people, which didn't end up happening, which I was a little upset. It almost felt like a missed opportunity. Like, why cast the most muscular guy in Hollywood if you're not going to at least use a little bit of that?
It was kind of odd casting.
Yes. I figured that's why they casted him, to be honest, was to be like a physical presence. And then they didn't use it as that. So it was a little odd to me.
Yeah, I think like
someone, I felt like someone more methodical should have been.
Yes.
Or that looked more methodical, at least.
There's a million more British actors that could have pulled it off. Just as well.
Yeah.
A good this just reminded me. A good modern portrayal of what Sherlock is supposed to be like is a character that is heavily based upon him. Think like Hugh Laurie in House, MD. That show. The main character, Dr. House, is based off of Sherlock Holmes. He's supposed to be like that. Like, he's supposed to be introverted, somewhat grumpy, and kind of genius. Whereas I didn't see a lot of the genius of Holmes, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure. And you know, we're kind of complaining about this, but it was a very small part of the movie, so it's
it's extremely niche. Yeah.
What other before we get into spoilers, any other general thoughts about things you disliked or would have preferred different?
I thought a lot of the plot points were pretty.
I found them odd.
Serendipitous.
Yeah.
They were odd and they were very serendipitous. Like, oh, this happens. Unscramble this cryptic message leads me to this. I'm just not a fan of the ploy of riddles and anagrams and stuff like that, because nobody uses anagrams anymore. Like, I don't know. It's just been overdone.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, so that was my biggest gripe. But then again, it's not like I was promised anything more based on reading about it or the trailer, you know.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a ton here to complain about. I would, the things we've mentioned with Sherlock, or maybe the odd casting. I guess one thing I wasn't huge on was the older brother, Sam Claflin's character. He just felt odd. And then I thought this is more spoiler, so actually I'll save that. But it's just, there's a couple things that I just would have tweaked just slightly, mostly minor complaints. But I think for the most part, I think this movie lived up to what it could be, and it's not going to be much more than it could be. And it can't be too much either. This movie's never going to be a 4.5 star. It just simply isn't, no matter what you do with it.
Right, exactly.
So I thought for the most part it did a good job. But should we get into some spoilers, Sam?
Yeah, let's get into some spoilers. Let's do that.
So spoilers coming up for Enola Holmes. But what I was going to mention is that I felt like yes, I liked that they kind of steered away from the whole like the one objective is to find the mom. It felt like they steered too far away from it, almost like they forgot about it. And then like, oh shoot, we have to come back to this. Let's throw something quick together.
Right. There was a bit of a Deus Ex Machina there, and I guess that like this is one of my biggest pet peeves with movies generally, is when two characters have some sort of a relationship, usually a romantic one, and one of the characters is just not connecting with the other. But there's always that moment in a movie where the other character who's not being connected to says, wait, I have to go back and do X for this person, even though you're sacrificing the entire purpose of the plot to go off in another direction. You saw this in Tenet with with John David Washington and Elizabeth Debicki, and then you see this in Enola Holmes, where Enola decides to abandon her search for her mother in order to help this young royal boy. And I just felt like they did not have the kind of connection that warranted that kind of behavior. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's almost as if, they had a plot developed where that would make sense, that interaction would make sense at the end. And then they had to cut some scenes, and then it almost lost that.
Yeah. Because they just always see between them really early on is just that scene in the woods, which is very brief, where they're just kind of talking to each other, but there's no moment where they're like, oh, we're the same person.
Yeah. Or, we have a big connection. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
I
wasn't too big on that.
Yeah, of course.
Personally.
I guess let's talk about the ending.
Sure.
I kind of said this, so two things, I suppose. How did her like getting away from her brothers work for you, and kind of the realization that Sherlock knows she's in the right place for her? Did that work out? I thought it played well enough for what it was doing, and it worked for me. It was clever, and
yeah. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and this was the only way to wrap it up properly.
Yeah.
And it's a nice ending because I guess thematically, Enola realizes that she's kind of her own person, which is what we keep referencing throughout the film. But she realizes she's her own person and has her own purpose in life that's separate from her brother. She's a different person, which was really cool to see. She kind of finds her identity, which was effective and probably the only way to wrap this up, honestly.
Agreed. Yeah, she gets away from, she kind of admires Sherlock, hates the other brother, so gets away from the other brother, realizes that, yes, I'm like Sherlock in some ways, but I find my own path. And I mean, it's it's not necessarily paint by numbers, but you could see the writing on the wall that this is what was going to happen. And then, but they handled it well, and kind of some good themes there, and you done well, I'll say. But I guess the actual ending, the actual last scene is her mom comes back. And how did this scene work for you? I was a little confused on how, like, that whole terrorism thing you were saying, like, how does the mom play into all this? Like, what was going on there? Was she on the run? How did that last scene work?
I still don't understand it, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I think we needed a little bit more explanation to really feel that emotion that was supposed to be felt in the last scene.
So I guess you could say that the disappearance of her mother was a red herring more or less, and she comes back and that works out just fine. Is that the idea?
I suppose, yeah.
And really it was the whole entanglement with the Marquess, and that situation that she was that is supposed to be the main plot of the movie, and really the disappearance of her mother was just a excuse to get the plot going, which I think is pretty thin. But
Agreed.
you know,
it felt a little rushed, similarly to the interaction with her and the boy at the end. Felt like we could have used a little bit more background, and it would have made a little bit more sense. Would have felt that impact a little bit more,
right?
And just
right.
than what we were given, which, you know, not the end of the world. Just probably cut, like I said, probably cut a few seasons in the editing bay, which resulted in the product we got. But I'm not too upset by it. I think it was fine.
So then I want to ask you, how does, because this is kind of related, but there's an entire subplot, as I mentioned earlier, about women's rights, and you see this reoccurring throughout the film. How do you think that works in terms of the subject matter?
I think I know what you're saying. I think it was kind of supposed to be played off like this like being a sleuth or a detective is like a man's job, almost saying that yes, women can do a man's job as well, or the like stereotypical this is a man's job, I suppose.
Right.
And do it better in some cases. Because we have that pretty funny scene at the end where Sherlock is saying what happens to the sheriff or the police, essentially, and then the police goes 2 questions, and then the second one is, how did your sister figure this out before you? I thought that was pretty funny. So it's kind of saying that yes, women can do this just as well as men can, if not better. Yes. But what do you think about it?
I think it actually works well, particularly with the ending where it's like, you know, it's not that Enola has to stoop to the level of what her brother is doing. Like that's not the point of this movement. It's that I have my own distinctive role. I've found my own thing, and nobody from either sex can tell me what I'm supposed to do, because you also see this kind of like rigid traditionalism from the teacher that she's thrown into essentially prison with. It's I guess her oppression is coming from both sides, which was really interesting to see, kind of interestingly done. So yeah, I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, I thought they handled it pretty well, and it was effective in what it was trying to do. I mean, it was not just shoehorned in as well, because sometimes themes like that can be shoehorned in at the end. It was pretty prevalent throughout. So yeah, props to the screenwriters and director there. But do you have any final thoughts before we hit some grades?
Yeah, I think this is a fine movie. I think it's not like it's fine, but it's like it's fine. It's fine. It's a fine movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. I think it's fun, and it if you're looking for 2 hours to just have a decent time, then yeah, this is good.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to move on to some star ratings?
Let's do some star ratings. Yeah.
All right. I'll start us off. You know, I think this is becoming a pretty strong theme at what we like to call TFN headquarters. Is a 3-star rating out of me. You know, all these Netflix movies have been, well, I shouldn't say all, but most of them have been pretty entertaining to me, and an average movie. So three stars. I would recommend this though. So
I initially gave it 2.5. I might move that up to 3. I'm with you, Will. I think that because I usually say that 3 stars and above are recommends. I would recommend this. I mean, yeah.
So you're on the edge.
It's a decent popcorn movie. I'd give it 2.5 or a 3 out of 5.
Good. So I think that's, I mean, if you have 2 recommends, that go check this out. If we've already spoiled it all. So
right, you don't need to watch it now. I promise. We got everything.
we got it covered. But what do you say, Sam? Should we move on to some recommendations?
Yeah, go ahead. I need to. I need to think of something.
All right. Well, you get that cooked up. I'm gonna recommend something very unorthodox, something we haven't done on the show before. I'm gonna recommend actually.
I like it.
A game/sport. And
what?
I've been wanting to recommend this, but I was waiting for the season per se to be over.
Sure.
But in college, I joined an intramural curling team, and it was it was a blast. Yes. It was an absolute blast, and I'd completely recommend curling to anyone. Yeah, it's super simple. Very I thought it was going to be really hard because you don't have skates or anything. I don't know if anyone knows how to curl, but you don't have skates. You just have normal shoes.
Right.
I thought it was going to be impossible to not slip, but it's not that hard. It's really not that hard, and it's really quite a bit of fun. So I'll recommend if you have an ice rink. I mean, don't buy your own stones or brooms or anything. So make sure you check if they have that kind of stuff. But if you can find a place to go curling, I would definitely do it. It was quite a bit of fun. So that's my weird recommendation of the week.
Okay. That's a good recommend. That is
typically normally we do forms of media. So I figured let's get something else. We'll switch it up a little bit. So
you're right.
Do you have anything for today?
Yeah. So last week, or no, this would have been 2 or 3 weeks ago. Never mind. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I watched a pretty good documentary from the BBC, which is free on YouTube right now. It's called Jonestown: Terror in the Jungle, and I have a deep, abiding fascination with Jonestown. I'm not gonna go into it right now, but it's pretty freaking interesting. So, check out Jonestown: Terror in the Jungle on YouTube. It's pretty long, pretty detailed, and it's worth a watch if you want to be simultaneously entertained and horrified. It's a true story, so check that out.
Oh, interesting. I'm looking at this now. Cool. Yeah, I will check. It's on YouTube, you said.
Yeah. The annoying part for me is that no one talks about it. I could go on for hours about it, but basically 908 people, American citizens, committed mass suicide in Guyana in South America in late 70s. And we still don't talk about it today.
I'm familiar with the story. I would like to check this out actually, because I do have at least a little bit of background knowledge.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
It is not ever discussed. So cool.
And you kind of learn about Jim Jones, the guy who orchestrated the whole thing, and how appealing he was, his abilities as a charismatic leader and everything. So check that out. Fascinating.
Yeah, Jonestown: Terror in the Jungle, produced by Leonardo DiCaprio. Right. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there you go. A couple recommendations and a movie review. But Sam, where can I find you on Letterboxd if I were looking? I'm not looking for you. Let's get that done. But if I were,
if you ever feel like finding me, go to letterboxd.com/sjdierberger. And where can I find you, Will?
You can find me at that same domain, except replace sjdierberger with Will Spalding. But you can find us, the show, in 18th century London. Well, is it 19th? 18th.
I think it'd be 19th century, because that'd be the 1800s.
Oh, you're right. Okay, 19th. I don't know centuries. I'm bad. 19th century London, solving many crimes as we used to do. But in case you're not looking for us there, you can always find us at anchor.fm/thosefilmnerds, where all of our episodes could be found, as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, or anywhere other places where podcasts are found at Those Film Nerds, or Those Film Nerds on Instagram, and at thosefilmnerds@gmail.com. If you have any show related or movie related questions or comments, email in. We'd love to get those emails, and we'll respond to you and interact with you. But
please do.
But Sam, until next time,
keep watching movies, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you, everyone.
Ever thought about making a podcast? Well, Anchor is the easiest and simplest way to do so. Let me explain. For starters, it's free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, laptop, or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and much, much more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place, so give it a try.